Welcome to Shah's IAS Institute. This is current affairs for 25th October 2016. The first news item is Special Forces deal deadly blow to Maoists, kill 24. So this is regarding the joint operation of the Special Forces from Andhra and Orissa, Greyhounds in Andhra Pradesh and Special Operation Group SOG from Orissa, who undertook a joint operation on the CPIM, the banned Naxalite organization, and major leaders, the top leaders of this banned organization were killed in this operation. So that is the news. The next news item is Haji Ali Trust gives in, women get equal access. So the Bombay High Court had issued an order asking the Haji Ali Dargah Trust to give equal access to women same as men. So they had appealed to the Supreme Court against this order. Now Haji Ali Trust has declared before the Supreme Court that they are ready and they will give equal access to women same as men. So they have put forth a map showing how women entry has also been extended to ensure they get access to the sanctum sanctorum of the Dargah. So, but another point which the Supreme Court also pointed out is that the entry for men and women is separate, and some activists who are involved, they also want that the entry should be together too. But the trust says that considering the safety, security and dignity of women, the entry points would be separate for men and women. Then the next news is substance use disorders in 22.4% of population. So this is regarding the recent survey, National Mental Health Survey, which was conducted on a section of the population, in which it came out that a major population, 22.4% of the population is dependent and disorders are there due to substance use. Substance use basically means usage of tobacco, alcohol, narcotic drugs, even prescription drugs. So this has come out. They suffer from anxiety, depression, some are even suicidal. So suicide risk is also high in this population. Plus it is also seen that the major dependence, a major culprit is tobacco. So this is the survey's results. Then the next news item is ISRO starts landing tests for Chandrayaan-2 mission. So Indian Space Research Organization had undertaken Chandrayaan-1 in 2008. Chandrayaan-1 comprised of an orbiter and an impactor. So it impacted on the surface of the moon as well. But later in 2009, due to technical difficulties, the thermal shielding issues, Chandrayaan stopped sending radio signals. But it had sent much more information and data, images of the moon to Earth. Indian flag was also hoisted on the surface of the moon. It also found water molecules in the moon's soil. So there have been major achievements done. It was said 95% of the mission objectives have been achieved by Chandrayaan-1, though it did not complete its full 2-year term. Now Chandrayaan-2 is being planned by ISRO. This will comprise of an orbiter, a lander as well as a rover which will move around on the surface of the moon. So now presently tests, experiments are being conducted to ensure Chandrayaan-2's success. So ISRO Satellite Center, which is basically in Bengaluru, near Bengaluru, where all these tests are being conducted. Then the next news item is Supreme Court wants RBI to name big loan defaulters. So Reserve Bank of India has presently put forth a confidential report before the Supreme Court detailing the names of all the defaulters, and especially the defaulters having loans of more than rupees 500 crores on which they have defaulted. So Supreme Court wants RBI to put forth these names in public. So that means through RTIs these names should be brought in front of the public. So it is based on a PIL filed in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says that rather than considering the interest of the banks, public interest also needs to be considered. So public interest of banks mean that they have to keep confidentiality of who are the loan takers and ensure that the loans are repaid rather than bringing them out in public. So the balance between the two is what Supreme Court is looking at. Then the next news item is era of e-postal ballots dawn, courtesy Election Commission's new initiative. So postal ballots have been there in India. That means through post, Department of Post, India Post, that ballots are sent and the person needs to fill them up and send back by post. So now Election Commission has come with e-postal ballots. So that have been launched presently in October 2016, means through a platform, online platform, a website, you can access the ballot paper. So that is called e-postal ballot, which you can download and fill up. So there will be a one-time password which will be given to the user. He can download the form, fill up the form, but he will have to return the form again via post only. So this is one aspect of postage still remains. So that is e-postal ballot. Then the next news item is Turkey's push to join Mosul battle angers Iraq. So we have already seen this earlier in news as well, that Mosul, which is an IS stronghold presently, and the coalition of US along with Iraq armed forces is fighting a battle here. The Kurdish Peshmerga, the armed forces here, are also part of this. The Shia militia, all are fighting together against IS. The Turkish forces are also fighting against IS in Iraq, but then Iraqi government does not want Turkey's presence on its soil, because Turkey is a Sunni country and Iraq being a Shia country. So this Sunni-Shia conflict prevails. So that is the reason why now Turkey is pushing ahead in Mosul, but Iraq refuses to acknowledge that it is completely against Turkey's interference on its soil. Then the next news item is Center may bring indebted ailing units under PSU bank management. So we have already seen this many a times. Non-performing assets, NPAs, are rising in India. They are already high, and especially with public sector undertaking banks, public banks. So these NPAs, there are many schemes also which have been launched by the government, strategic debt restructuring schemes, under which debt will be converted into equity. Means it's no longer a loan of the bank, but the bank is acquiring a share in the company. So it's not a debt now, it's an equity. You are a stakeholder. The bank is a stakeholder in the company. So these schemes have been launched and they have been implemented, but then there is a need for a change in management too for these. So majorly we see that sectors like power, steel are suffering because of majorly by NPAs. So non-performing assets are high in these sectors. So the government is now planning to have a public sector undertaking, a successful public sector undertaking in these sectors to take over the management of these ailing PSUs, ailing units too. So they are looking into this matter, along with converting debt into equity, change in management also, so that the company succeeds and is able to repay the loans, make profit again. And the last news item is, as artificial intelligence evolves, so does its criminal potential. So artificial intelligence means machines are taught, trained, through camera, they can visualize, through senses, sensory, audio, they can understand audio, they can speech synthesize, so they can voice modulate. So all these are part of artificial intelligence. So it is beneficial for the people too, and it will have its counter negative effects too, which means that even criminals and hackers can use them. So it is, that aspect also needs to be highlighted. So that is an article about that. So these are the news items. We'll look at some of them in detail now. So looking at the first news item about the joint operation between Andhra and Orissa in the border areas. So this is Orissa and this is Andhra Pradesh. This is the border region. Malkangari district is here in Orissa. The red parts show the worst affected districts of India due to Naxalism. So these are the north side of Andhra Pradesh, the southern side of Andhra, Chhattisgarh here, Maharashtra, the eastern districts, Gadchiroli and Chandrapur, here north of Orissa too, Bihar, Jharkhand. So these are the areas worst affected by Naxalism in India. Then about the Haji Ali Trust giving equal access. So this is the Sanctum Sanctorum in green. Here is the men's entry area. The ladies area was still here. Now this additional pink region you see is the ladies entry. So gents entry is on the opposite side. So they have increased access for women too, making it equivalent. Then the next news item about substance abuse. So this is the finding. The disorders which are caused due to this: tobacco, alcohol, highest contributions by tobacco and then alcohol. Then comes other narcotics. So these are the diseases also caused due to neurosis, stress related illness, the agoraphobia which we spoke of, symptoms of anxiety in situations where the person perceives the environment to be unsafe with no easy way to get away. Phobias develop, intellectual disabilities develop. So all these are caused due to mental disorders linked to these substance use. Then this is about ISRO. So a new site has been developed at Challakere. It's in Chitradurga district near Bengaluru. So ISRO Satellite Center has been set up this site where it's a huge site where all these experiments will be undertaken for moon mission Chandrayaan-2. So artificially created craters similar to the moon's craters have been developed here. So to simulate how the lander would land here, sensors will work. So all that is being tested. So it will be launched in late 2017 or 2018. So experiments have started. So that was about Chandrayaan 1-2, the achievements. It launched the tricolor 2. It found water on in this moon's soil. So this will be the orbiter. From Chandrayaan 2 will be launched from the Earth. It will go around, orbit the Earth, and then move ahead on another trajectory, go around, orbit the moon. Then it would launch the lander here, and then the lander would release the rover which can move about on the surface of the moon. Then this is about the big defaulters to be named. So it is also said that all defaulters are not thieves. There may be genuine reasons because of which they are defaulting on loans. So if you put undue pressure on them, then they may not be able to ensure that their company profits and they are able to repay the loans, because that is the main objective. So that is also seen here. How much are the NPAs and how much have been recovered by debt recovery tribunals. It is DEBT, debt recovery tribunal. So that such initiatives have also been taken by the government to ensure that defaulters repay. So there have been many writing off of debts too. Means those who cannot pay, those debts have been written off by many PSU banks too. So that is listed out here. So to remove the NPAs from their balance sheets, because in non-performing assets is a drain on their balance sheets, the banks are called loss making, and then they cannot undertake further business too. So they cannot issue new loans as well. So then government takes initiatives like these two. Then this is about the e-postal ballot. We discussed this already, the one-time password, and has to download the form, fill it, and then send it by post, regular post. Then this is about the Mosul. This is Turkey here. Mosul is a region here you can see in Iraq, north of Iraq, and here. And Turkey lies up here. This green region which is shown is the region where Kurds are in a majority. So the darker the region, more the concentration of Kurds in this region. So they are demanding an independent Kurdistan too, and Turkey is up in arms against them. So they want to ensure that Turkey remains safe from Kurds revolt also. Iran, which is again Shia along with Iraq, they do not have a major say, and Turkey remains powerful in the region. So it has its own ambitions, national ambitions, based on which it is fighting the war against IS in Iraq. So this is Mosul. So in Syria also, this Jarablus was the region near the border between Turkey and Syria, in Syria, which was won over by Turkey from IS earlier in August 2016. Then this is about the ailing PSUs to be taken over, ailing units to be taken over by PSU bank managements. So a scheme for power sector is also shown here, Ujjwal Discom Assurance Scheme, which was launched in November 2015, under which the 75% of the debt would be converted into state debt. So state takes over the debt of power units, and then 25% is considered only as loan. So that is a scheme to release the power sector from high debts, state undertaking them. And this is about artificial intelligence, what benefits it can have, robotic applications, language, speech recognition, learning systems, fuzzy logic. All this is part of artificial intelligence, which is developing these days. Even this aspect of captcha under which it is checked whether the human is interfacing or a machine is interfacing, is checked through this. So this is a way to ensure machines don't overtake people. So there are such measures required. Thank you. That is it.